Hey guys, and welcome back to the DNA show with me, Aidan Smith.
And me, Dean Palfreyman.
We're here today, we're going to talk more about your questions. So in our last video, we did the introduction on ourselves and what our history in fitness. But the questions have come in, and we're going to answer those questions today for you.
As best we can. Thanks for everybody that watched last week, or last couple of weeks for our first vid. Hope you enjoyed what we had to say about ourselves. But like I say, this is more about you and the questions that we've had coming in, so hopefully get through them and see how we go.
Yeah, and the one thing I have seen, guys, is we've had 1,200 views on LinkedIn, which hasn't really moved into the YouTube video. If you can click on the video for it, guys, it does just give us a couple more views. Even if you're not too interested in watching the video, just click on our video, and that should help out some of the people who might want to watch the video.
Yeah.
So the first question comes in from Priya, which I really like. This question is, what music do you train to?
It's a good question.
I like that question.
Yeah, it's very specific to individual, isn't it?
Yeah.
For me, when I am in the gym environment, it's about working hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm into the full body interval type training, and you need, for me, I need that big kind of baseline that drives you along.
Mm-hmm.
So things like Prodigy, big one for me, drum and bass type music, Linkin Park sort of rocky sort of things. That's the type of music I like to train with, just to give you that motivation to get through it. When you need that extra little push, you can just give that drive.
That's cool.
What about you?
You're probably not going to believe this, but the heaviest metal that you can get your head around. So I've mentioned this in a previous video. My warm-up song is normally Earth, Wind and Fire, September. It's just a bit groovy. No, that's not heavy metal at all. But then you're moving into stuff like Kill Switch Engage, Five Finger Death Punch, stuff that physically you see that one person in the gym that's got the headphones on and you can hear everything that's going on in their headphones. That's me.
You like angry stuff?
I like the really angry stuff. I mean,
Right.
to say that I'm into sort of warp a bass line most of the time and poppy charty music,
Yeah.
to say that I'm moving to heavy metal when I get into the gym's a funny one. But yeah, that's the sort of music that I like to listen to. If I'm doing stuff like stretching, yoga, this is a real big shout out. Check out Chill Step.
Right.
It's a chilled out version of dubstep.
Okay.
And I used to use this in all of my stretch classes, and it is amazing. It's also copyright free if you ever want to use it on the back of your videos.
All right.
But God, is it good?
Oh, nice.
Really, really good music in that sort of terms. Is there any other type of stuff that you've listened to before?
Here's the other. I'm going to flip it totally on its head. That's when I'm training in the gym, weight-based gym environment.
Mm-hmm.
The music I listen to when I'm outdoors, nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
Silence.
So yeah, sound of nature. If I'm running, I don't want that thing in my ears. I'm just that out in the woods. So actually, little cliche, the sound of nature is the next music I like, because you don't need anything else.
At least quite alluring silence.
Yeah.
I really did all the birds singing, all that sort of different
Yeah.
stuff. I think that is quite nice, and that's why a lot of these guys that are doing yoga on the beach with the sound of the waves, that's got to be dead cool.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it?
It's difficult that we live in the Black Country, 200 miles from sea, so we can't really listen to it. But
So yeah, that's me.
yeah, that's me. So I think that's
This really is a matter of preferences. This real answer should be what do you like as a person? If it gets you motivated to do your training session, it's the right music.
So my girlfriend listens to like Spice Girls, and
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you that I've listened to her playlist 4 or 5 times, but yeah, she listens to Spice Girls and all that different stuff, and she loves that sort of stuff. So
Yeah, couldn't train to it.
no, I couldn't train to that either, to be fair. But hang on. So second question comes in from Claire Gill. So thanks for your question. Metabolism. Okay, how to increase your metabolism?
Yeah.
Which is a controversial one, because some people believe that you can, some people believe that you can't. What's your take on metabolism?
Right. So to underpin the question, I'm guessing what she's trying to get across is to increase metabolism to how weight control.
Weight control, yeah.
Yeah. So the theory being that the higher your metabolic rate, the more calories you're going to be burning throughout the day, so easier to hold the weight back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like you say, it's a bit controversial in that respect, because when you actually put on a certain amount of muscle mass, obviously your metabolic rate goes up. But what realistically bigger benefit are you going to get from that? It's only a pinch of salt in some cases. But if we are looking at, yes, it's going to have an effect. The simple thing is weight-based training, resistance training, to increase muscle mass.
Yeah.
Muscle cell is metabolically active, so the more you have, higher metabolic rate. Obviously, we go down the route of what type of exercises. Big compound ones are going to be the best one. Squats, bench top press, and we are looking at it from a purely muscle building point of view. Increase that muscle mass, metabolism is going to rise. As you know, I do like to flip these things around. Negative point about raising metabolism there is you're going to want to eat more.
Exactly right.
So there is that balance of, are you going to keep your weight off because you're high in metabolism, or are you going to get that fine line actually because suddenly you've got to feel that muscle cell. That's your body's going to want more food. So there is that fine line about where you are, and I think that's, again, as with all of this, is very individual. But to answer that from that point of view, it's about resistance exercise.
Yeah.
Increasing muscle mass.
I would say exactly the same.
Yeah.
The first thing I would look at with stimulating metabolism would be heavy weight training.
Right.
So I would have gone straight down the compound lifts route. I'd have looked at lifting some good heavy weight, getting that cell engaging, and then from there, your metabolism's bound to kick. So for me, metabolism, I think something that we need to clear up. Metabolism is not how fast you burn calories.
Right.
Metabolism is body function.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people look at a slow metabolism or a fast metabolism as something that you were born with. There's nothing you can do about it. It controls how many calories you do and don't burn. Strictly, not exactly true, kind of true. It's a bit of a grey area. But for me, I find that when you start with nutrition, I find it slightly easier. So I personally encourage my guys to eat more frequently, which is roughly what we're getting on about. You need to fuel yourself more by eating more food. And again, there is that scale where you could quite easily go into 4,000 calories and really start gaining some weight.
Yeah.
But if I was to start off, I'd say exactly the same thing. Start with a heavy weight training, not too much cardio.
Yeah.
As strange as that sounds, I personally don't find that cardio ever stimulates metabolism. It's engaging that cell to want to produce more and do more.
Yeah. Like I say, it's about stimulation of the body, isn't it?
Of course, yeah.
And that would lead us on, I think, to our next question.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing just before we move on is a lot of females worry about weight training because they think they're going to get quote unquote big.
Yes.
Now, I think there's a lot of pictures out there on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, where you're looking at people who have got other sources quite clearly going on. I mean, it's an unspoken etiquette of that side of the industry that nobody really talks about it. But let's be honest, you don't look like that if you were heavyweight trained. I mean, I've trained people and they've gone stick thin.
Yep.
Off heavyweight training, which is the complete adverse effect of what you think is going to happen.
Like I said, there is that worry, particularly from female perspective, isn't there? I don't want to get muscly.
Yeah.
Very, very hard. Even professional female bodybuilders find it hard to gain weight.
Yeah.
Hence why they need other sources of getting there. You just as a lady, you're not naturally built to gain muscle mass. So, like I say, it's not something that should be worried about. Do the weights, get that resistance training in, male or female.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. It's, from a hormonal perspective, there's just not enough testosterone in a lady to get big.
Yeah.
There are going to be the anomalies, aren't there? There are going to be more muscular women.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that athlete that's the whole controversy at the moment?
It's some Mia or something like that.
You know what I'm talking about though, because she's competing, but she has a higher testosterone rate than most females. It's an abnormality, if you wanted to call it that.
And if you want, I've had girls on stage before, bodybuilding competitions, that is, you can't not do other sources. There's no other way of winning because these competitions allow that sort of stuff. There is no way you can win without these, let's break it down. Without steroids, there's absolutely no way that they could win.
No.
And that's why I think, I mean, we've gone a little bit off track, but if you look at somebody who is doing that style of training with steroids, their metabolic rate is through the roof.
Yeah.
It is huge. But then if you look at the amount of food that they're eating, is also huge.
Yeah.
And you've made
Comes
that point perfectly.
Yeah.
As I say, I've just finished bulking now. I'm probably close to 4,500 calories a day, just to try and maintain where I'm at with it. I could probably do more,
right?
But we'll get onto that issue another day, really. But as you said, it does bring us on to our third question pretty well, and this comes from Ben Rasmin. I've done a video on Ben, which is really worth checking out. And his question is, how is best to maintain muscle mass?
Okay. Which, going back to that last one thing, again, me flipping it the other way around, is not to do, and that is too much cardio.
I totally agree.
And a very, very simple way of putting this into your mind's eye, look at an endurance athlete. London Marathon yesterday. They are stick thin.
Yeah, super lean.
Super lean. Perfectly built for that as an activity, that long distance cardio aerobics work. But that actually highlights what you don't want to be doing if you're trying to maintain muscle mass.
I totally agree.
Your body, as somebody that wants to put that muscle mass on, you don't want to be doing the work that an endurance athlete's going to be doing.
Yeah.
Your body's going to be breaking down that muscle tissue because it's not actually beneficial to be bulky as a runner.
Of course not.
It doesn't make sense. Somebody that's big and bulky is not going to run the same as Mofat.
I totally agree.
So that would be my first point, is to maintain muscle mass. You do not do too much cardio. If you are doing cardio, it should be high intensity.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Because high intensity kind of brings back to the metabolism thing. It actually stimulates muscle growth. High intensity interval training can stimulate muscle growth, particularly if you're doing it on a weight-based system. So let's take a push press exercise, for example. You work that for 25 reps, full pace. You are getting cardiovascular benefits.
Yeah, your heart rate's going to be high.
But it's not the same cardio that people picture in their head. So running, cycling, swimming. So yeah, that would be my number one.
I think the issue that most people get is they try to do a lean bulk,
right, which
which is not strictly possible, so to speak. I mean, a lot of people do dispute it, but I've never found it where you can do both sort of contradicting sides, so bulking and cutting, so to speak, at the same time, and make this linear through road where you're going to get big and ripped at the same time, and it doesn't really work. For me, when you're maintaining muscle mass, the most important thing to do is move away from your 3 sets of 10 to success.
Right.
You've got to train in different rep ranges,
yeah,
because the body's going to create adaptations where it knows exactly what's going to happen. So what I see is a lot of guys walking into the gym, first time they've ever trained, and they'll hit the bench, they'll do the chest press, then they'll find out that there's another muscle up here, so they'll do the incline chest. Then they'll do cable fly, then they'll do a decline press, close grip press, and then finish off with some sort of press up set. That's a very common chest day. They'll do that for about 8 weeks. By the 4th week, you walk into the gym, and Arnold's got a really good talk on this, and he says, "Oh no, you're going to walk over to the bench, and you're going to do 3 sets of 10 at 55 kilos, and then you're going to walk over to your dumbbell fly, and then you're going to go onto your incline." The body has totally adapted to it, and it's no longer in the alarm phase anymore. It's not in a phase where it's going, "What are you doing to me?"
Yeah.
It's totally adapted to it. It understands what it's doing. And for me, that's the problem. A lot of people that try to maintain the muscle end up losing it by doing the same thing that they've always done. You've got to change it up.
So you could flip the question on your head. How do I gain more muscle?
Yeah.
And that would be, you need to progress your training, whether that's on volume, weight, repetition, change of exercise. You need to keep that progression in order to gain. And I suppose, and that bring back to maintenance, you need to change again. Like you just said, your body will adapt and it will get that balance and muscle loss at long term.
Yeah.
I suppose another thing we haven't spoke about really is the nutrition factor.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
you've got to be fueling your body properly.
Yeah.
For your body to be signalled to say, I can maintain this muscle mass.
But that doesn't necessarily mean, I've seen this a lot this year, that doesn't mean lumping 500 grams of protein down your neck the first day that you come into training.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be the two big trends of the year seem to be protein uptake and veganity.
Right.
They seem to be the two, and they seem to completely contradict each other. But I've seen a lot of guys that are just trying to just eat as much chicken as possible and fish, and making sure they get the protein shakes. And digesting that amount of protein is so difficult. I mean, I made the mistake 2 or 3 years ago of trying to go to 300 grams of protein, and I couldn't move. So it's understanding your nutrition. Yes, you've got to fuel your body with good quality food. Yes, you've got to try and get that calorie intake. Yes, you've got to try and make sure that your food is of that good quality. But don't go crazy straight away, so to speak, because half the time it's going to go into your body and straight out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's going to get stored as fat.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a little tangent off you if you don't mind. And that when we talk about taking all this food in to maintain, there's actually a lot of research showing that your body is actually stimulated to maintain muscle mass in a fasted state. So fasting being a period of time when you're not eating. Mm-hmm. For people that don't know, there are different ways that people implement fasting into their lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I do it every now and again throughout the week. We're trying to 18 hours generally. But from that as a point of, well, if you've got to be eating all the time to maintain, the body is actually stimulated to maintain muscle mass in a fasted state. And if we look back from my approach being an ancestral approach, it makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. So hunter-gatherer goes out, we have a big meal and fuel ourselves well. So there's a certain amount of muscle mass there. But then, following a few days, no food. It would be massively negative from an evolutionary perspective for your body to start breaking muscle mass down. Mm-hmm. Because you have got to go out and hunt and gather for the next meal. So it would be a real backward step from an evolutionary plane for your body to immediately start burning through your muscle tissue.
Your muscle tissue, yeah.
So there is actually some light in saying actually sometimes not eating, believe it or not, can help you maintain. Now it's not going to help you grow. Mm-hmm. It's not signaling the body, oh, we've got loads of food coming, let's grow, because you do need that extra intake. But it can help maintain at that point, which will be an interesting tangent to pull on there.
No, I agree, and I think the question itself, maintaining muscle mass, I personally don't agree with a maintenance period.
Right.
I don't think that you can ever go, right, I am 11 stone 7, I weigh 9 stone 18 muscle mass, I am going to stay at that for the rest of my life.
Right.
It's impossible. I always talk about maintaining a range. Mm-hmm. It's exactly the same with weight. I mean, a lot of people fixate on the weight. If you try and maintain 3 pound either way, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you can ever just go, well, that's exactly what I'm going to be. Because the amount of adaptation you would need to stay there is worse than trying to stay in the range.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, because you're trying to do things that take you back to homeostyle or whatever you've set yourself into. I like that range of where you can just sort of stay around there.
A little bit give and take.
That is maintenance. Maintenance isn't absolute for me, and maintenance is just slightly away from where it is. I will give yourself £3 a pound either way.
Yeah.
So I can wake up tomorrow morning if I've had a good sleep and I've trained well. I can wake up £2 heavier than what I was today.
Yeah.
But then I wake up the next day and I've lost £4, and it's just you sort of going, what am I doing? I've burned 1,400 calories in one day. It's not true. I've just all that's happened is that something in the body's slightly changed, or my water's changed, or something like that, and I've got that acute change.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important not to just fixate on that.
Well, on the way, yeah. You did bring up that as a point we've made before, in that we're too focused on how much somebody weighs.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Whether it is somebody that is clearly obese, or the weight isn't the big number, is it? Well, it shouldn't be the main driving force. It's about getting them lean. And it brings you back to that question, lean muscle mass. How do we maintain that lean muscle mass? sparks another thought in my mind actually, just talking that through. When we are trying to lose weight and people are exercising, isn't it an interesting kind of balance of we're trying to gain muscle to increase metabolic rate at the same time as losing weight?
Yeah.
There we go.
Which weight weighs heavier, but we're trying to lose weight.
Yes, there you go.
This is why weight doesn't work.
The whole
And it's something that I'm going to ask you as a surprise question later.
Oh, nice.
Is about weight and BMI. As there's been a study recently.
Oh, right, okay.
We'll get onto that on the second part of the video.
Okay.
So we can take a little short break, guys, just to get some water on board and those different things. So we'll see you in part 2. And welcome back. So we are into part 2 of the DNA podcast. Thanks for staying with us through the first part, and I hope that was quite helpful for you. So we're going to move on to our 4th question. I think we'll spend a little bit longer on this one because this is something that will need a little bit more explaining. And this comes in from Dan Smith, who is my mom. And that is where to start. So if you were looking at getting yourself into fitness, into nutrition, into a healthy lifestyle, where do you start for you?
Okay. I think the first point for anybody is to ask themselves what they're trying to achieve. That should be start point number 1. Forget about what the nutritional plan will be or what exercise plan will be. Let's get down on paper the reason you're going to make this change in your lifestyle. Whether that is weight loss, whether that is training for a marathon, whatever it might be, that is number 1, stage 1. Then you can start to put in place nutritional strategy, exercise regime, and so on. But what's your point from stage 1, and we'll come back to those bits.
Okay, so from stage 1, I would have a rough idea in mind of what I wanted to do, because to set a goal straight away, you're almost fishing in the dark.
Right.
Okay, I'm not saying fishing in the dark is the wrong thing to do, but it is fishing in the dark. It is kind of, let's just guess. The amount of times I've had someone come to me and say, I want to lose 3 stone.
Yep.
You're 10 stone 1, so you want to lose 3 stone. It's almost like a random figure. I'd start off with a rough idea of, I want to lose body fat, not necessarily weight. I want to lose body fat. I want to increase muscle. Just something quite specifically non-specific, so to speak.
A bit more generic.
Bit more generic, yeah. So I want to gain muscle. I want to lose some body fat, or I want to lose weight, or whatever. From there, first thing to do, look at nutrition.
Yeah.
And that's wherever I start with nutrition.
Yeah, got it.
And the simple reason for that, if you want to get basic results, half a stone either way, cut out your takeaways, reduce your alcohol.
Stage 1.
Done.
Yep.
That's it.
Get rid of the junk.
Get rid of the rubbish.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the biggest one for me that we see all the time, is you don't have to have a specific macronutrients based diet to lose half a stone.
No.
All you need to do is cut out your takeaways, or reduce them to 1 a week rather than 3. Reduce your alcohol somewhat, and drink more water.
Yeah.
That's half a stone done.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do. That would happen in 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I said that with almost everybody.
Just for that simple thing.
Just for that little getting rid of, a Chinese. I think we worked it out at about 1,600 calories. A Chinese would work out. I know people that have had 3 a week.
Yeah. Of junk, rubbish.
Of
food.
just of no quality content.
Yeah. So that's kind of my next. It is the first step, like I said, and that is to set that template of real food. Like I say, it hasn't got to be macro counted, calorie counted. It's about going to real food, which isn't processed, packaged rubbish, isn't from the takeaway, like you say, or the drive-through, whatever it may be. It's about getting good quality, real food, job done. You make that switch, forget about calories, whatever it might be. If you just eat real food, you're going to see a massive improvement.
Of course, yeah.
Particularly coming from that opposite end of the spectrum of, like I say, 3 or 4 takeaways a week, gorging on crisps and chocolate throughout the day. Just that small switch.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily going to be an easy switch. People do have to adapt, and they have to make decisions,
Mhm.
but that is about that person making that lifestyle change, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and they have that's kind of why my first stage is finding a reason for what you're going to do.
Mhm.
So if you have got that reason, I want to live longer is a really easy one, isn't it?
Mhm.
As opposed to always the weight or whatever. I want to live longer. You've got that in the back of your head. The reason I'm now eating real food, I want to live longer.
Mhm.
Simple as that.
I remember a client I had about 2 years ago, and he didn't even progress to personal training. It was a guy, and he wanted to lose some body fat, ready for his holiday. Cut his alcohol down by 50%. Done.
Yeah.
That was
That's all
it.
he needed.
That was it.
Yeah. Some very
And
simple.
that wasn't that. I mean, that was from, I think it was 8 points a week to 4.
Right. You see that massive difference? Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Over 3 months, that was that done.
Yeah.
And we look at fitness now, for me, in extremes. So we're either looking for this ripped athlete or this, super fit CrossFitter or something. We're looking for extremes.
Yes.
If you're looking for a general, generic fat loss, start with that.
Yep.
If that doesn't quite work for you, then we can look at portion control and we can look at quality of food. Okay, we can look at how often we're eating. We can look at, a big one that I get, the myths. Cut the myths out.
Yep.
Not eating before bed because it's going to sit in your stomach. all the generic rubbish that we get fed. Cut all that out and just start eating consistently.
Yeah. Good quality food.
Good quality food.
Yeah. Stage 1.
There you go. And from there, I find that you're going to get 80 to 90% of your clients done.
Yep. If they put it into practice.
Yeah, of course. Then you start to get into the actual goal itself, because once you start to get to feel better, you'll know what you want. So what I say to a lot of my guys that have never done it before is, let's have 4 weeks at it, just eating. Don't even worry about personal training. Let's have 4 weeks of eating, and then we'll see what you actually want.
Yeah. So it opens their mind to actually, they know where they want to go with it now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a really important point actually, is that it kind of goes back to your point of the whole goal setting, not necessarily from the off,
Mm-hmm.
is that you can be bombarded with too much thought process,
Mm-hmm.
as in, I want to look like this, I want to weigh like this, I want to be able to do this much weight stroke exercise.
And when can I get this done by?
Exactly, time scale. Whereas I think that kind of drip feed approach almost of get the food right, and now let's discuss actually where we're going with this. Because we're both on the same page with that. You have to get the food right, no matter what the long-term goal will be. If the food's not right, the fitness isn't going to work. You're not going to get where you want to be.
Yep.
But then I suppose we can take that onto where do you start with the exercise then.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, you really need to be careful from the off, particularly if you've not done anything since school.
Yep.
The worst case scenario is they get in the gym, they have no kind of induction or anything. I think people think they know what they're doing, and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
We've worked with a lot of people over the years.
Yeah.
People don't know what they're doing.
Instructors included.
Instructors included, yeah.
There's quite a few of them.
Jump on the treadmill, hamstring twang.
Mm-hmm.
They put them back for another 7 or 8 weeks before they can start again. That then leads to the negative thoughts in their head. What does negativity and things like that in the head go? Bad food.
Yeah.
Comfort food.
Back to square one.
So from the off, you need to be. If you are in the gym environment, you need to get a good instructor. That's a really good point for starting off your fitness. You need to have an instructor that you know. A is qualified.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying qualifications always the be all and end all. But somebody that you ideally have had a recommendation from, that can show you how to do it properly. And so what I'm trying to get at there really is to take your time with it.
Yeah.
Don't expect to be running a half marathon in 6 months.
No.
Don't expect to be deadlifting 150k in X amount of months. Slow but sure. There's no rush to where you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid injury,
mm-hmm.
which is the
biggest
one.
Yeah.
Because if you get injured, you're not going to carry on where you want to be. Over to you. Where do you take that?
So I think exactly the same sort of thing. When I look at exercise, and it's strange that we're both personal trainers, that both recommend you don't start with training.
Yeah, exactly.
Where we're going to earn our money, we've just told you not to do.
Yeah.
Which you know, you've got to have, as you said, with a good quality instructor, someone who knows that. Now, don't get me wrong, if you've joined up to your membership and you're excited, you want to get in there and you want to do your training, go for it. But what we're not looking for is walking straight into a HIIT workout on your first day, doing burpees, doing handstand press ups and all these different things. If you can, super.
But you're probably not going to.
But you're probably not going to. Okay. If you went into a gym and did 20 minutes incline walking, I would be happy. Flat walking, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
That would be enough for me. Because the biggest one, and I have got a client who will vouch for this. Paul told me that nutrition was good, weren't the greatest. Has done quite a bit of training in the past. Had the first PT session with me, and nearly went to A&E because she thought their arms were broke. The ache in the arms was so bad, she nearly went to A&E.
Right. And I'm guessing actually the workout you gave wasn't that hard.
It wasn't that hard.
No.
If we did that now, we'd laugh at it.
Yeah.
So it kind of, you've got to find that right balance before you start training. And if you're going to start with training first, it's about finding something that you enjoy.
I was going to come to that next.
Because when we get in there, the amount of people that I see pounding the treadmill, I don't really want to be here, I don't really want to do this. You could gain so much more by doing something that you enjoy. I mean, for example, Pilates. I did Pilates for the first time 18 months ago, and I physically couldn't pick myself off the floor. By the end of the session, sweat was dripping out of, every area of my head, and I don't sweat.
Right. That was Pilates.
And that was Pilates.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed it. So it's something that I now use is Pilates, yoga, all these different things. I use it to lengthen my muscles. But I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's totally different to the heavy metal in my ears, pounding the hard weights. It's the complete opposite, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of benefit for me. I mean, especially when you're squatting 150, 160 and above, your back does start to ache. The Pilates has helped me out massively.
Yep.
And I think that's somewhere nice for you to actually start, is looking at things like Pilates and yoga, because there's always a regressional exercise or an easier exercise, so to speak. You can't really you can do easier exercises on resistance by changing the weight, but you can't really change the movement pattern. I have known people that cannot lift the smallest weight on a resistance piece of equipment, and straight away you feel alienated and you feel stupid.
Yeah.
So you've ruined your self-efficacy straight away. And that's why I think we both say start with nutrition, because you're already getting the result before you add the 20% or whatever percent you think it is.
Yes.
At the end of your training.
Just to kind of copy what you just said there, but enjoyment in what you do is the massive thing. Because having worked in the gym environment for so long, I'm not a big fan of training in the gym per se as a traditional gym setup, as you know. But I think find something you enjoy, but to kind of off the back of that, you need to think about prehab. So you've all heard of rehab. When you've hurt yourself, you need to rehabilitate. And things like you just said with the Pilates, yoga, sort of more, you would say easier going, but like you say, it's not as easy going as you
it's
would
not
think.
easy, no.
You need to start to move before you can get in the gym. Get some movement, like just a basic stretch class, so that you can't go from sitting on the couch 24/7 to hitting the gym hard, because again, it brings us right back to that whole thing about the injury prevention, doesn't it? But if you can find something that, yes, you enjoy, because you are going to stick to it then. If you don't, you're going to fall off the wagon. But more importantly, something you enjoy that is setting you up to do better things. So it might be that the yoga you really enjoy and you stay there. You just get really good at being into yoga.
Yeah.
But things like that are going to help you with other exercise.
Yeah. And the one thing that either of us have said is go onto social media, take a look at your favourite influencers page and start doing that. Because it's something that I'm seeing a lot more now is guys are looking on Instagram and going, that's what I want to look like. What you see is not actually what you get. So I remember, I'm not going to call the person out on it, but I remember reading a a blog which was on low intensity steady state cardio,
Right.
walking on a treadmill for 40 minutes. And I actually know that person was doing 5 high intensity sessions per week.
Right.
It had nothing to do with the low intensity steady state cardio.
Yeah.
I know that.
Right.
But that person was getting paid to endorse the
okay.
brand of the treadmill.
Right.
So I understand what's going on. If you've never seen it before, you wouldn't know.
No, of course not. No. Yeah. So I think your point with that is work out what you're trying to do. You shouldn't try and be like somebody else.
Yeah, of course. The other one that I've seen is guys, and I see this a lot, looking at someone like Dorian Yates or Ronnie Coleman, Callum Von Moga, all of these big, really big, ripped up guys. And don't get me wrong, I would love to look like those guys. But without other sources, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of guys walk into their nutrition and they're doing a nutrition plan which a professional bodybuilder is doing 4 weeks out from the competition.
Right.
I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
That is not going to happen. Okay? You're not going to be able to wake up and have your 7 egg whites with your oats all mixed up, and then 3 hours later, by the time you've had that second protein shake, you are going to be asleep. It's as simple as that. I've tried to do 600 grams of carbs a day. I was asleep for midday.
Right.
It was impossible.
Yeah.
And that's where I think making sure that you do your research first. Don't just look on Instagram. Don't just look on Facebook. Look around. Go into a gym. See what's going on. Look at something moving around in the woods. Like, I've never tried it,
right.
But I know a lot of your guys that just can't wait to get out there.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, it's finding what you enjoy. It's finding what you love, and that for me is the start of fitness.
Yes.
Is finding something that you enjoy.
Yeah. And just to again come off the back of what you just said is that, and looking on Instagram or looking at somebody else, just because that works for them doesn't mean to say it's going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very much an individual thing. Whatever we speak about from the diet or the fitness point of view, just because it works for John doesn't necessarily mean it works for Bob.
Mm-hmm.
You have to tailor it for that individual.
Mm-hmm.
So if they go in thinking that whoever's nutrition plan is going to work for them, it probably isn't.
No.
Probably there might be a step in the right direction, but it's probably not going to get particularly where that person is. So
I think if we take your ideologies of nutrition, a lot of the stuff that you say to your guys is not specifically planned, if you know what I'm saying. It's not here's your diet plan, follow that.
No.
But if you looked at every person's individual nutrition, not one would be the same.
No, you're right.
Although you've given the same information.
Template, yeah.
If you've got that basic template, I know you modify it from there and give them really good stuff, but you've got a non-specific training program. They all do something different.
Yeah.
You all find what works for them.
Yeah.
And that's what I find with my guys. I know I make it specific, but they will still change it to suit them because you'll find what you enjoy.
Yep.
I obviously got 3 different, depending if it's an off day, a rest day, or a train day. You got 3 different breakfasts.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone likes the rest day nutrition, eat that.
Yeah.
There you go. As long as you're not eating it 7 days a week, eat that. I'm fine with that. That's not a problem at all. As long as you add in a couple of different macros in here and there, fine. But it's finding that enjoyment.
Yeah. So to break it down, really, we've got 3 stages, haven't we? And that is individuality, something you enjoy, and tweaking it as you go to make it individual.
And if we were to recap what we've entirely said, start off by cutting out your alcohol and your rubbish.
Yep.
Look at your nutrition, fitness. We never even spoke about sleep.
Oh no.
And sleep's a huge one.
Yeah.
But all 3 of those are going to improve your sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I think,
the sleep thing is a big one. They're probably not addressed in this question. It's about where can you start.
Sleep's an entire podcast on its own because it's so deep. Yeah. But I think that's that
deep
one.
Sleep.
Yeah, deep sleep. So, our 5th question comes in from Rocky Sings. Thanks for that. And that is, do you believe that there is a difference in the time of the day that you train?
Simple answer, no.
Okay.
Again, I keep using this word a lot today, individuality. So we're going to have these kind of arguments back and forth where you're going to read. So is training in the morning going to be better for you because you're waking your body up, increasing your metabolic rate throughout the day? Maybe, maybe not. Is it better towards the end of the day because you're already awake? If you've been up and moving all day, can you train more efficiently because you're already moving? So there is that kind of balance of either way. I think there'd be arguments back and forth along those lines all the time. So, like I said at the start, I'd say no, it's not massively different. There would be an argument that the end of the day wouldn't necessarily be great because you're going to be hoping to go to sleep. Back to what we just said, you're going to, if you're having a late workout, 7:30, 8 o'clock, you're going to bed for 10. You're going to still be hyped off that routine. Are you going to be sleeping as efficiently? So yeah, it's a bit of a back and forth, but simple answer for me, no, not an ideal. But again, it's that if it works well for you in the morning, great. If it gets you out of bed and you're happy and you're enjoying it that first thing, that's the best time for you. If you are training at night and it works well for you, great. That is the best time for you. So yeah, find what works again for you as that individual, and then you'd have your own answer to that thing. What about yourself?
I think it makes a difference.
You do?
I'm massively thinking about it.
That's
So
good.
what I find with a lot of my guys, and I'm answering yes, but I'm going to say the same thing.
Okay.
It is individuality. So you have to find the right time of the day.
Yeah.
So I think what the question was saying is, if you did the same workout at 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock,
Right.
is it going to be exactly the same effectiveness? I don't think so.
Right.
Because your body's naturally going to react at a certain time. So I find that, here we go, training legs is better AM.
Right.
Training chest is better PM. Upper body I find better PM. Upper body, lower body I find better training AM.
Okay. This is you personally.
This is me personally.
Right.
Why I've come to that conclusion, I don't know.
Okay.
But I have always found that I prefer training legs in the morning.
Okay.
Or,
Interesting.
glutes,
Yeah.
hip flexors, all those different things. I prefer training upper body in the evening.
Right.
Okay, just simply because that is what has always worked for me.
Yeah.
I've always found that if I get up and do upper body, which I enjoy doing more than legs, it's almost more of a chore.
Okay.
So I'm getting up and normally my chest day I love, my back day I love, yeah, my shoulders, everyone who trains me will tell you are rubbish. But I feel with legs aren't my favourite to train. And I also find that if I train legs in the evening and then go to sleep, I wake up and ache more. Whereas when I train legs in the morning and walk around all day,
Okay.
I find it easier for me.
It helps mitigate the
It
pain.
helps me to it helps me to get the pain because
Right.
when you're training the level of legs, for guys that have never trained before, legs day is legs day. It's a very interesting day if you're doing it specifically. But I find that it is better to train at those specific times. The one that we haven't talked about is midday.
Okay.
And I find a lot of guys who are in business train better midday
Okay.
because they're looking forward to the break.
Makes sense.
And I think it's really nice for the mind to go in an hour's time. And I would encourage a lot of businesses to do this. Give your guys an extra hour on break.
Yeah.
Let them go and train, get a shower, eat their dinner.
Yeah.
You are going to get a different person back at work.
No, I agree with that.
100%. I always found that when I trained on my break, I felt better.
Right.
Which
I
was,
always do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make
we numerous times just went on break and did a workout,
Yeah.
which makes you feel 100 times better.
Just to kind of go to make it more specific into potential benefits, and if I was going to push towards one side of the day than the other, I'd say actually a morning it could be better. I'm going to flip my answer a little bit now. In that, at waking, cortisol is spiked, isn't it? So that stress hormone is going to get you out of bed. You want to go. You don't want to go throughout the day stressed. So to actually go and do some exercises, you're actually going to get that balancing effect. Also, if you can get up in the morning and do some exercise, you are going to wake your body up. wake your brain up more importantly, and going into the work cycle that many people do, 8:30, 9 o'clock into the office. If you already exercise, you're going to be switched on.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You're not going to have that slow build up to get yourself going anymore. So that could be one benefit of doing it early in the morning.
Exactly the same I was going to say. What I find with my guys that are AM trainers is they react so much better once they've done it. So you know as well as I do, when you train, you release endorphins, good quality endorphins. There are some bad ones. Most people don't talk about that, but there are some bad ones. But most of them, good endorphins, make you feel good. And it also gives you something called a dopamine kick. The same sort of thing as you get when you jump out of a plane. It's not the same feeling, but it does give you a little bit of a dopamine kick. If I wanted those two things to happen, would I want those to happen before bed? No. Probably not. Okay? And for guys that are doing pre-workout, definitely not before bed, because believe me, I've tried that before, you don't sleep. So for me, I do actually think it makes a difference when you train, but it comes back to what you've said. It's individuality. It's finding, again, what time works for you. And this is why I think, leading from the last question, if we were to talk about exercise, that's quite specific, but that is something you've got to consider. Because if you start training after work and you're forcing yourself to go, or you're waking yourself in the morning and forcing yourself to go, that's not enjoyable.
No.
I could train at 3 in the morning, 6 in the evening, 12 in the afternoon. It wouldn't really matter. I love it. I love being in the gym. I love training. But it's more effective for me to train knowing when, because it works for me. But I know some of my clients only like training in the evening, only like training in the morning. But then again, it comes down to time restraints, because I have got a client who is far superior in the morning. Far superior in the morning, but can't get it.
Right, fair enough. Just to go a little bit deeper into the question, and maybe where it's coming from as well, is is there a time of day that's going to be more beneficial? So let's forget about what fits in with you. So let's take is it better? Are you going to lose more weight if you train alongside your diet, but if you train in the morning compared to night? And I don't think there'd be much of a difference either way there.
No, I totally agree.
We'd probably clutch at straws, maybe spike your metabolism first thing in the morning. There could be that as a small argument, but I don't think it's going to be significant enough to.
You've got the most amount of energy.
Exactly.
You've got all your energy to expend.
You're going to be round in circles again. So that's just maybe where the question might be coming from. Is it better to train morning or night for a specific goal? I'd say.
And this is quite scientific, but the conditions would have to be absolute. So you'd have to have 8 hours sleep, and you'd have to finish work at 5, and your drive home would have to be 35 minutes for it to actually to work out. The variables are so. If you go to bed and have a bad night's sleep because it's too hot, you're going to wake up in the morning not as effective as you were. So therefore, you're going to go to the gym and go, well, that workout was rubbish. There are far too many variables.
So it's not necessarily the time; it's the factors within the life.
Don't be wrong. If you're a full-time bodybuilder, or a full-time fitness athlete, or a full-time influencer, I'm pretty sure it makes a difference.
But that's high end.
But that's high end. That's 1%. We're not talking about 99% here.
The general public.
I just find that works for me in terms of the AM and the PM. But I'm not the 1%. I'm the 99%. So it comes down to individuality and working out what works for you. I think that one's pretty good. So I thought I'd spring this one on you because we've agreed on quite a lot of things so far. I think we're going to agree on this, but I'm gonna spring this on you, and this is a study that was done has been released today by the ECO, the European Congress of Obesity. Okay. And that it states that 2.8 million people were studied, and they found that people who were 40 to 45 BMI were 3 times more likely to develop heart disease. There is a new classification name for the latter part of BMI, so the 35 plus, and that people who were above normal in the BMI scale were more likely to develop type 2 diabetes and or sleep apnea. What's your opinion?
Okay. First point is, are we really still studying
Yeah.
BMI?
Yeah.
And 2.8 million people were studied. Right. I don't think it's new news.
No.
I think we've known.
I think we're going to agree on this.
We've known for a long time that being. Let's move off BMI in a second. We'll rant about that in a minute. That being overweight is unhealthy and potentially life-threatening. I think we know that already.
Yep.
So why are we studying that?
Yeah.
If someone can answer me that question, I'd really like to hear
I'm
it.
sure some of these people are on a lot of money as well to tell us that if you are overweight or carrying too much body fat, you are at higher risk of heart disease.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm pretty sure a 4-year-old could probably tell you that. You could pay them 100 grand probably, but
yeah. So surely we could be putting the efforts into that study into finding new ways to stop our children from sitting on the backsides all day, and actually how can we get kids eating better food?
Yeah.
Surely we put our efforts into that. So that's kind of my little rant on. Yeah. Just to almost, it's one of these annoying studies, I think. Why? We know that anyway.
Yeah, I think what it boils down to me is that is a very comprehensive study, 2.8 million. But it is almost common sense.
Yeah.
And I think it's trying to almost prove that BMI is right.
Right.
As bad as that sounds, I don't ever follow BMI.
No,
if you want my BMI, it's 29.
Mine, 28.
And I am 16% body fat.
Good
Now,
take off,
16% body fat, I'm probably 10% off being a stage athlete.
Yeah.
Now, I know 10% sounds like a lot. It's not. It's not the greatest amount. So, you've got to take this study and go, where are we spending our money in the fitness industry?
Yeah.
Now, you've made a great point. How do we get kids off Fortnite or off their new game, or I don't know, watching that new pop group, BTS or something like that, watching the new pop group, I don't know, and getting them outside or getting them inside and still doing things and getting them stimulated in fitness. But no, we're back to
an old,
round
in circles argument about body mass index.
Yeah. Now I understand that we've got to produce information that is going to spark thought.
Yeah.
But that does not spark thought.
No, it doesn't. There's no
in the slightest.
No.
The first thing that I thought when I read the article was, well, surely you know this. I mean, maybe there is, but I'm sure that, let's take for example someone who is 40 BMI. I am sure that they are not sat at home or running around the park or whatever they're doing going, well, I don't think heart disease is going to get me. You know, it's got to be plainly obvious that that is a repercussion of that, of being where it is.
It's almost as if they've done it in order, because you said they've got this new category.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's to backing up the fact that, oh, there's a reason we've done this. Yeah. Because 2.8 million, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. So that's why we've got these new.
Yeah. No, I mean, is it a new category? I mean, it's just a new name I've heard.
Yeah.
So, what names have you heard for plus 35 BMI? I've heard of morbidly obese.
Yeah.
The new one, which is extremely obese.
Severely.
Severely obese.
Yeah.
Morbidly obese. Clinically obese, which I never understood. But is there a new, I don't know, clinical form of obesity? Now I know that we're kind of laughing at this, but it is ridiculous. It is something that. Why is this? I saw one a couple of weeks ago, which was pasta makes you live longer or something like that. And you just question where this has actually come from.
The science world frustrates me all the time. So let's take that as an example. And I've got no idea what that's doing. The pasta makes you live longer. They always pinpoint one factor.
Mm-hmm.
So if that was a study, it won't be causative. Mm-hmm. It would have been a correlation. So they'll have taken X amount of people and said, do eat pasta.
Yeah.
Right? and they'll have said yes or no, and they'll have looked at the weight or whatever the study was looking for, without considering the other lifestyle factors.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's take it's a good example of pasta. Italy's birthplace of pasta,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah. Someone needs to call us out if that's wrong.
Right,
yeah.
What else goes within that Mediterranean diet, if you want to call it that,
Mm-hmm.
which is very popular way of eating, but you've got the good quality fats from olive oil.
Yeah.
They're living outside a lot more. They've got the weather for it clearly, but they're out on the side. They move more.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of oily fish. All the other healthier
food.
But we're looking at it's the pasta that's doing a good job.
Yeah,
no, it's not.
When I was in Italy, I mean, like you'd look, the table was prepared with a salad.
Yeah.
The first thing that was there was a salad. Now I know you can overeat on salad. It's difficult, but you can overeat on salad. But the table was prepared with a salad. So to straight away say, no, it's the pasta that does it. Well, surely then if that's the case, then why isn't there adverts sprawled across the TV? Go out and buy, your conch shells. It just doesn't make any sense.
It'd be really interesting, and I know it's kind of unless you can find it, to see who backs that study.
Mm-hmm.
A pasta manufacturer, maybe?
Potentially. Some of the people who created pasta.
There's 4 million euros or whatever to go and do a study. We are whatever pasta company.
Yeah.
Make it look good.
Yeah.
I know that's another conversation
Mm-hmm.
entirely, but yeah, it's just annoying. But even though, let's forget about the whole study being null and void actually, and actually let's forget. Or should I say, remind us of what they're even studying, that is BMI again.
Mm-hmm.
And it brings us to that, is it really a way we should be assessing people's health? And we've usually said, we're both, obviously the new categories, I know, probably puts us in the overweight section.
Yeah, it just puts us in the overweight section, yeah.
I'd like to say, I don't think I'm overweight.
No. I mean, either of us are particularly tall.
No.
But we're both, here we go. This is where people are going to call me out. We're both particularly muscular.
Right.
So we both train, so
yes.
Therefore we've both got larger muscle densities. And muscle density does have weight to it.
Yeah.
Again, we have talked how many times about not fixating on weight.
Yeah.
This entire study is fixated on weight.
Yeah.
Because it's cheap and because it's simple.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, controversy, I'm going to make a controversial statement. I believe that eventually BMI will be used to stop procedure.
Right, well it does. It's a medical procedure.
Yeah.
Right,
so it does already, but yeah. I think it's going to be completely brought out. You do not have a medical procedure unless you are less than 30 BMI.
Yeah.
Because we can't afford it.
Yeah.
It's completely. I mean, would you say that to Johnny Wilkinson? I know he probably can afford private, but if you're looking at someone who is very genetically muscular, and to deny them the chance of having potentially life-changing surgery because of, I don't know, this is speculation, but because of their BMI.
Yeah. Well, I think it already is the case.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. But they say you have to get your BMI to this level. It's too risky for us to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, maybe I talk about risk factor in doing an operation, but the measurability of BMI shouldn't be the way they're doing it.
No, I totally agree.
Just because that number says they're overweight, because that's basically what it comes down to. It's overweight, isn't it? It shouldn't be, like you say, that thing that stops them having that life-saving operation.
It's like a simple hip to waist ratio.
Yeah.
Why is that not used? I mean, that's even cheaper. All you need is a piece of tape.
Yeah.
You don't even need the calculator to do it on. And I think the fitness world has moved so far past BMI. It's incredible.
Yeah. So why are the powers that be?
Yeah.
Do the same thing.
I think it's because it's cheap. Because it's so easy to do. Here is your BMI. I had a client 2 years ago, and she was in a class. I remember seeing her, and she was absolutely distraught. And she'd been to a well woman check, the plus 55 well woman check, and okay, she did say that the nurse that was doing the procedure was not a lean athlete,
okay,
so to speak.
You're being polite, yeah?
I'm being really polite compared to what she said. She was not a lean athlete, was then saying that this lady had quite a high BMI. She'd been training in the gym for over 12 months. Her nutrition was practically perfect. She was sleeping better. She was moving better. She'd staved off things that she thought were potentially issues, and they were now gone. And I know for a fact, because I did it. Now, women naturally have a higher body fat percentage. This is a lady who's 55, had 29% body fat.
No.
That's not high.
No.
And yet went
But
went to a well woman check, and the person who did the procedure said you could do with losing some weight.
Based on BMI.
She was a size 10.
Right.
What here? Yes, I mean, this is a lady who's over 55. This isn't a 23-year-old, young lady who's just bringing herself into fitness. This is a 55-year-old woman who'd worked so hard for 12 months, completely changed her physique, to walk into that procedure and go, sorry, yeah, you need to lose some weight. Why? Oh, because of this equation. It's garbage.
Again, not looking at the other lifestyle factors that I used.
Of course.
Like you said, nutrition, exercise, Blood pressure is probably fine. Blood glucose is probably fine. But maybe BMI is high. Bang.
And you look at the actual BMI calculation, which is meters, kg divided by meter squared cubed. No,
meter squared.
Yeah, meter squared.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah, meter squared.
On eggs,
meter squared. Yeah. There's no movement consideration.
No.
There's no training consideration. There's no nutritional consideration. It doesn't consider anything but weight and height.
Yeah.
I mean, this is we're in the 21st century. We've got phones that can tell us. We've got watches that could tell us our blood pressure, how hard we're working, and whether or not we should eat a bacon and sandwich. But yet, the biggest medical establishments in the world still work off height and weight.
Right.
And it flabbergasted me. Surely there's got to be a better system than this.
It's tough to say. I'd rather they just went on weight.
Yeah, then height. Yeah, you weigh this.
You weigh this.
Yeah, we need you to weigh this.
As opposed to that scale.
Yeah.
And as a calculation, it's that. Yeah. The only positive I can say, if somebody is clearly massively overweight, the more numbers you can see coming down is psychologically beneficial. But you get the same from weight. Right? So if you can, well, then you've lost X amount around your chest, your BMI is dropping. From that psychological point of view, that's the only tiny benefit I can see of having that as a scale.
I totally agree.
That. That's it. But that's our rant on BMI.
That's our rant on BMI.
Which,
I hope I'm going to try and throw one of these in every time. Just look at a study and go, okay, is this good? Is this bad? What is this?
Yeah.
And I think that brings us to the end of episode 2.
I think you're right, mate.
So thanks for the guys that have sent in your questions. Really appreciate that. As I say, I've seen the amount of views on LinkedIn. We haven't had that many views on YouTube, but we're going to try and get that across. But if you could just look at the video, if you could share and like it, maybe there's someone that's going to pick it up that is going to use the information well.
Yeah, as I said, thanks very much for watching, and please do share and get our word out for us. You're the people that are going to do that, and do keep these questions coming in, because the more we get, the longer we keep going. And hopefully see you all next time.
Yeah, and just on a final note, we aren't a completely professional podcasting. But I've noticed that the screen went off midway through. But we are trying as hard as we can to get our fitness message out without this costing a fortune.
Yeah.
When if we start seeing the people coming in, we'll invest in it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and we will speak to you all next time. Cheers.
Take care.